My friends, one day when I woke up, I found myself surrounded by a team of doctors. They were psychiatrists, and to be more precise, I was there for the evaluation of depression disorder. It was during my mid-20s. I had a career crisis. I had some emotional relationship issues, and it was a conscious decision to be there. Speaking to these, it's a huge institute in New York, and I went there to have a conversation with them because I was trying to understand what was going through me, what was going through my mind, and how can I control it. And anytime I was trying to fix it, or I couldn't even actually think how to fix it, I didn't even know how to start from. So it was very important for me to understand, to understand what was going on with me. So, and that happened when I had this episode of depression. Now, it didn't just happen overnight. It started much earlier in my age, as I went through the child trauma, and then later on the series of events in my life, like the process of life that we go through. And I'm sure everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own things that they go through, and which is always different from the other person. There's some resemblances, but overall, everyone has a different level of pain with the sensitivity and all these other factors. So it was an explosion in my mid career, and I didn't know where to start from and what I need to do. So finally, when I sat there in front of the team of doctors, and they asked me, and I was giving them my the story, which I always wanted to talk to someone, but I had never been able to express my feelings of what I didn't like, and then what's in there. So it was a good experience the first time I told them my story. And it was like I felt like something off my shoulder, and I felt like a victim came out of it. And then now I felt good, which is very important for us to let things out. But it's not what they told me, or the medicine they offered me, or the diagnosis they offered me. It's the process that I went through. After the first couple of times it felt good, but there's a problem, there's a problem. Like we can tell things to people, right? But we cannot lie to ourselves. So there was a problem. Like every single time I told them something, what that story had, what I was basically holding everyone else accountable for my stupid mistakes. Like for all my things, the things that I wasn't able to express myself, or I wasn't able to do certain things, and things like that. It was all leading to things associated with my friends, and I was like, it's my parents and my cousins, or my colleagues, or the work situation, or the place, or the environment, or whatever it was, right? So but the more I repeated that story, the more I listened to myself because we can't shy away from ourselves. At some point, we do have to. We can do it for the time being, but for in long run, we can't. So, the more I heard the story, the more I realized that there's one person that I'm not holding accountable for, that I'm not holding accountable to all this act, and that was me. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I was making. So that episode, that process became the foundation of my next leap in my life, and till that time, as I was going through that episode, like it didn't make sense to me. But then there are two, three things that I learned. Like people often ask questions, if you can go back and if you have to change something about your life, right, what would it be? So for me, it's two or three things that they're not really about changing myself, because the majority of the things that happen in our lives, we can't really change them. It's a series of events, other than the stupid mistakes that we make, and we can only think that if we had not done that, we would be in a different situation. But then that's again the perception of our mind, like because our mind doesn't think about having any sort of issues in an alternative ways. But that's not true. When we actually get into those kind of issues, then we do have those issues, and then life probably would be completely different than actually our mind is imagining. So coming back to it, like there are 2-3 things that I actually, at that point, I decided and I learned from it. And then if I can go back to not even 20, if I can go back to my age of 15, I will try to understand them. And I'll tell that to myself. And they're all related. And, the number one will be, I will take responsibility of my actions much sooner. One thing that I realized when I was trying to speak to the doctors and trying to explain myself, that I was holding people accountable for my mistakes. And even if it was their fault, that they weren't available or whatever in my mind, like what was going on, like the thing is, at the end of the day, it's my life. I'm supposed to get up and take responsibility for it. Because at some point in our life, like as we move in our careers, we are going to be the one who's going to be pretty much, as we stay from our parents, as we move away from our peers, from our cousins, things like that, a lot of things evolve. We evolve, right? A lot of things change. So there will be a time in our life comes where we have to make those decisions ourselves, where we understand our life the best way possible. So if we start that thing in a much earlier age, I think things become way easier. So that was one thing I learned from it. I was like, I'm going to basically hold myself accountable for it. And I'm not going to wait for someone. No one is going to come and fix my life. I'm going to take responsibility of my actions, whether they were my mistakes or not. And it doesn't mean that to self-judge or judge someone else. Like, we do make mistakes, and that's the second part of it, like to understand, to basically the reason why we want to take the responsibility so we can fix it. So we are not waiting on the third party to come in and fix it for us, because a lot of us will waste years and years, and I did for some time, and then not years, but I did waste some time in understanding this part, that no one is going to come and fix it for me, and I'm the one who's going to have to get up and fix it. So that was one thing that I would tell my younger self, that I will go back and I will start taking responsibility for my actions or my mistakes or whatever is happening in my life much sooner. Of course, again, a lot of things beyond our control, but the things that are actually happening, I will start taking responsibility for it. So in that way, I can fix it, and I'm not relying on someone else. So that's one point I will tell myself. The second thing will be, I will have less expectations, which is linked to the first one. So even though we said that we don't have expectations from people and things like that, but at somewhere in there, we have expectations from people. Like somewhere in there, when we do things for people, whether it's in some sort of a future, a reward for the deed, or somewhere monetary return, or some sort like that, we expect them to be there for us when we need them. Unfortunately, it's not like that. I think it's better to have no expectations and train ourselves to have no expectations, taking us back to the old saying that once you do some good deed, just throw it into the river, right? Or if you do something good, just forget about it. Like, these are old sayings over the time, but we still want to go around and somehow, somewhere, and which is very natural, we start, we basically start looking at people and for them to be there, or like for them to be, we start expecting things from them. And I think the sooner we realize that people don't owe us anything, and people don't have to do us favors. They don't have to take responsibilities for us. They don't have to, help us. And we are the one, that basically we have to give in order, with the thinking that we don't have to take anything back. Like it as much as possible. Like, I know we still somewhere in there, when times are hard and things, we are going through that. Like, we do want, people to be there. I'm not saying to have a negative perception for people, like, for people that, people don't help and this and that. I'm just talking about, it just becomes much easier if we don't expect things from people. And basically, even if we do something, even if you're doing some favor, just let it go and practice it as much as possible. And because majority of the disappointments that we have to ourselves is like, because somewhere in there we're relying on some sort of a return. And when things don't happen, because a lot of times it's not even people's fault. Like, a lot of times it's not even them. Like, everyone has their own life. Over the years, people career change, their responsibility change. So a lot of times they can't really come in and do things for us. So it's better if we train our mind and basically act upon it, that try to have as minimum expectations, try to have zero expectations, but I know it's almost impossible. So try to remind ourselves that I'm not going to have any expectation. I'm not going to have any expectations. And even if we go into the emotional roller coaster ride, we need to break that pattern and tell ourselves that we cannot do that. So that will be one thing, that's the second thing I will tell myself. So the first one was basically take responsibility for my actions much quicker. And then second thing, that I'm responsible for my life and I'm going to fix it. I'm going to do whatever it takes to fix it. The second one will be basically, I'm going to have less expectation from people.